Good morning, everyone. My name is Ben Churchhouse, and welcome to the HR Congress podcast. And I'm joined today by a very special guest, Catalina Schveninger. Catalina is currently the Global Head of Learning at Vodafone, based in London. Prior to this role, she was the Global Head of Resourcing and Employer Brand for 4 years. With a great deal of international experience across several HR roles in different organizations, Catalina has built a career through various markets and industries. And she'll be joining us at the HR Congress this year in Nice and speaking in the employee experience track on the topic of enhancing employee experience in the age of Industry 4.0. So first of all, thank you for joining me today, Catalina.
Thank you for having me, Ben. It's a great opportunity to have a chat. And yeah, when you mentioned a great deal of experience, that makes me feel very old. But I think I think you had a point there. Yes.
Yeah, depending on how you look at it, I guess. But I don't really have that much experience in anything, so I'm sort of going to defer to you. So just before we get into this a little bit further, obviously this is the first time we've spoken, the first time we've met, and I think my introduction is kind of brief, and I wanted maybe just to hear a little bit more from you about your journey, how you ended up in your current position, maybe journey within HR, and some of those important steps for you in your life so far.
No, sure. I'll keep it short. I actually ended up working in HR by chance. I trained to be a journalist. Wanted to be Christian Amanpour as I was growing up and going to uni. But as it happens, my path crossed with a startup, an executive research consulting startup back maybe 20 years ago. And this is how my HR journey started. I've been having lots of fun ever since. I've done lots of great roles, both as a HR generalist, supporting the business directly, but also in centers of expertise. And as you said, it's been over 5 years now that I'm with Vodafone here at Paddington, where we have our global headquarters. I joined to take care of resourcing and employer brand. And now, over a year, I've been leading the learning capabilities agenda. And I think throughout my career, but especially in the last couple of years, when there's an abundance of HR tech, lots of great tech enabling us to give employees and candidates a better experience. I've been really passionate and fortunate to work side by side other lines of business, with IT, with marketing, to kind of reinvent the employee experience and to leverage technology as well as human interaction to give our people the best experience they could ever have, so that they could thrive at work and at home.
So it can be easy to get carried away with new technologies, tools, gadgets, all these shiny things that get thrown at the workplace. But when it comes to employee experience, the human connection will, at least in my opinion, probably always sit at the top. What would be your view on balancing this relationship between employee experience, the amount of technology that we have, and of course, developing that human connection?
I like the fact that you use the word enhancing, and I think, enhancing, augmenting, I think this is key, because indeed we have access to great technology as never before. And I'm a big fan of technology. Technology automation can simplify processes, can make things much more straightforward. I love how tools now, through APIs, actually build on each other. Technology gives us some tremendous data that then can inform our decisions and our investments and the employee experience overall. So all in all, again, technology offers a lot of opportunities. On the other hand, we know from all the research we've done that if you map the moments that really matter in an employee life cycle, most moments are those that have to do with a career transition, a great mentorship experience, coaching experience, great teamwork. And we know that a lot of these moments, again, no matter how great your tech is, you always need the humans behind it to make it, to make an impact. Again, I guess a blend with the right tech that's not overwhelming and is not just there for the sake of being techy or digital, combined with really knowing what is the experience that you want to give your people that's on brand, that's delivering on that employee value proposition, on that company purpose. Combine that with, let's say, the humans behind the brand and behind the processes. That's the right blend and the right balance. And have we got the balance? Probably not. I think a lot of companies like us, we are on this journey. of making the most of technology, yet not forgetting, the importance of human interactions, especially as we talk about, people, joining, learning, developing, and moving out of the company. But again, it gives us a fantastic opportunity and a big challenge in the world that's full of new tech and new gadgets and new startups every day. I lost count how many there. How we still make sense of that. And again, as I said, I'm a bit of a techie at heart, a bit of a geek, and I love the opportunities that tech is giving us. But at the same time, we still need to continue to power the humans to deliver these great experiences.
One of the things that the proliferation of technology has led us towards is the ability to be a lot more personalized with tools and programs. So we know that people are individuals and they have unique learning styles. People learn differently in different methods. So how do you create a learning and development environment that manages to cater to personal needs with the tech or even just with non-tech methods?
Great question. When you need to deliver learning to over 100,000 people, of course, you need some tech of sorts. Unfortunately, you can't make, the learning path and the learning content, can't deliver it one-on-one. I think the age of doing everything in classrooms, is over. We have shifted now. I think over 80% of our delivery is actually virtual. There's still moments when you need to get people in a classroom, especially when you are experimenting with tools, when you are working on projects and apply that learning. So there will always be a space for that type of learning. However, a lot of what we're doing has moved online. And then again, that allows us to scale our learning and reach hundreds of thousands of learners. Now, what we've practically done in Vodafone, as other large corporates or small corporates, we have a baseline of large HR systems, including e-learning. So we have a learning management systems powered by SuccessFactors. What we did in order to personalize the learning to a deeper extent and recommend content that's relevant to everybody's skill set, we have built a learning experience layer on top of SuccessFactors. We build it in-house with our own IT people, with leveraging the Microsoft Suite, SharePoint. And that platform that's fully integrated with APIs to SuccessFactors enables us to, for example, make learning relevant for the skill set of your job today and also of your aspirations, career aspirations of tomorrow. So in a very practical way, you can go and create your skill profile based on the role you're doing today and pick up skills that are mapped to your role. But at the same time, if you have career ambitions and you want to maybe change function or change roles, you're also able to customize your profile and add skills that are relevant to, again, the roles that you aspire to go to in the future. And that skill profile will filter out the relevant content for you. So my learning path will be different to Ben's or to Tom's or to James, based on, again, my current role, requirements to stay current in the role, but also my aspirations for future roles. And that level of transparency is already helping, because we often realize that when we talk about skills, competencies, strength, and all that, it's pretty much an HR talk, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to make it super practical and visible to employees to understand what are these skills that are required from them today and tomorrow, and how do they map to the roles they're doing today. So already by creating that transparency and that visibility, you are a step ahead. Now, is this a very deep level of personalizations? Maybe it's level 2, there's more steps ahead, more opportunities to make learning even more personal, but it's really a good start. And we chose this path because now more than ever, digital skills of tomorrow, are so important. And that's an area that I think we, as corporates are putting a lot of emphasis in, building the skills versus buying talent from outside.
It seems like there is this increasing range of post-formal education opportunities, and obviously now within organizations like Vodafone, there are learning paths that can be dynamically developed over time and interests developed in certain areas. And I would probably even go so far to say that there's almost too much to filter through. Does this mean in some sense that the age of career or skill specialization is over?
To a certain extent, it's actually that, skills development has never been more relevant than now, especially because, where you're looking in the shifts of technology and how disruptive that is. So again, my personal view is that we need to get much more granular towards the skill development. I think someone said, someone smarter than me said that, the skills are the micro measure of any development. So we need to get super, super specific on, unpacking what the skills of today and tomorrow mean, what the future of work will bring and to make it super clear to everybody in the workforce. Because again, we know for a fact all the McKinsey reports are prompting to, automation will make lots of existing roles disappear, but at the same time will give us opportunities to reskill ourselves. And there are a lot of key skills that are more transferable than one might think. But again, do we, at an individual level, do we really know what part of our skill set will be, it's worth reinvesting and upskilling so that we can, move into different roles that will not be impacted by automation and AI in the future. So in that context, again, skills have never been hotter than they are today. But I think the HR function, we all struggle with, becoming experts in the skills economy, partnering with the business and the functional experts to really understand the skills and how they can be transferable or learned or relearned, and making them then therefore visible to everybody or through technology, through comms, what have you. So again, this is kind of one of the dilemmas and the challenges that the HR function has right now to really become experts in, the work of the future and the skills of the future, and creating environments, learning opportunities, technology that enable that upskilling of people so that we can all have our place and our future in this, interesting future of work that's upon us.
So could you please tell me a little bit more about Vodafone University and the logic behind its creation?
Yeah, as I said before, I think the Vodafone University is a brand we created internally. So if we look to everything that's going on across our 26 countries, almost 100,000 employees, we capture under one umbrella of the Vodafone University, but we also created this learning experience layer on top of success factors. Now, that doesn't mean that we only bring together internal content that's either created or curated by our own people, but under the umbrella of the Vodafone University, we also bring external content. We partner with a startup from Italy, with a funny name, of course, .me. And with them, basically, we made sure that Vodafone University becomes kind of the place to search for learning. So let's say we call it a Google for learning. So if you, for example, want to learn more about Agile, when you search on the Vodafone University site, you will be prompted with both internal and external content on Agile and so forth, right? So again, it's a place where we hope that people go in daily to learn, whether it's a bite, it's a video of 3 minutes, or where they enroll in a longer term learning path that might end with having a badge or having a nano degree on Udacity, for example, right? So we've mapped every single piece of content that we have on critical skills and roles. So as I said, to kind of guide people to understand, in this hundreds of thousands of, skills and stuff, what are the key ones that I need to work on and get myself up to date in, right? So all that filtering in terms of your skill profile as well as the content is on one platform. And, the ambition is that on one level, we get people to learn every day of anything. Because, flexing the learning muscle is always good, creating this habit of learning all the time. But at the same time, we focus a lot on building expertise. So those who want to actually go deep in a certain skill area, they can also do that on the same platform, right? So on one level, we cater a bit of learning for everybody, at the same time focusing a lot on this deeper expert path, which we know from, all the research we've done and from practice that deep learning doesn't really happen just online, but it's a good way. It's a good place to start.
And you sort of touched a little bit there on leveraging the internal knowledge of people within the organization. How is mentorship being augmented in this current digital or more digital age?
This is maybe one of the challenges, because we've also done a couple of pilots, and we realized that the most impactful learning that sticks doesn't happen necessarily online, but it happens in a peer network. So people are more likely to learn from others like them, or people who are more experienced than them. And we have a couple of ways of capturing that knowledge and exploring also other ways. So really keen to, the HR Congress to learn of what other companies have done it to crack this. So mentoring is definitely a key way to transfer skill and learn from experts. We see that in technology and in marketing. And what we're doing, we implemented these levels of 1 to 5. And whereas when you are a 5, you're a master or a guru. And in order to get that skill level recognition, one of the criteria is you have to mentor others. You have to transfer that knowledge. Right, and we do that informally in most cases. We know that there's fantastic experts in the company that always have a passion for sharing that knowledge, and they do it informally. And now through our badging systems, we're starting to formalize that as well and make it, again, we capture that as well. It's really hard because there's no technology out there that captures data around how this skills transfer is happening. At least we have a quantitative view of how many people in the companies are seen as level 4, level 5, and therefore incentivize them to transfer that knowledge. And the next level is we would love to be able to capture that somewhere, right? To capture the data of, how exactly is this skill transfer happening and when is success, what does success look like? But again, a long story short, I do not have the right technological answer to this. But we encourage these communities of experts to have this transfer of knowledge and to mentor others, novices, right, who aspire to develop their skill in informal ways, and give them the recognition for doing so by giving them, badges. And I know, it's really funny. Back in the days when I started my career, certifications and badges were a thing. Then they weren't a thing anymore, and they are back in now. Right. Yeah. So you see a lot of people are starting to get more serious about their formal learning and, getting their certifications and badges. And I think it's a good thing because in areas of deep specializations, you actually need to do it properly, right? Deep reskilling is something that requires, a structured way of learning and ultimately requires a stamp of approval from a mentor or a institution or a company that actually can certify that A, you've learned the skill, but B, you're actually applying it every day. Again, without going too lengthy in this, I could, spend hours on. There's another thing that we're struggling with. How do you really measure that people are applying these skills, right? Once they tick the box.
So I want to finish off with a question about employer brand, because employer brand is very important for an organization and for employees, and it can very strongly impact or influence engagement. So what are some of the means that you can improve the interaction between these two things, engagement, experience, and the employer brand?
It's interesting. When I joined Vodafone and I led the employer brand work, back then I had no idea what employer brand meant, because for me it was like, wait a minute, the brand is the brand of is the brand, right? And my own definition of brand is the brand is not what you say you are, is what they say about you and how they experience you, right? So you can put a lot of shiny posters and campaigns out there with the wonderful things that you're doing as an employer, but if your people, your candidates, your employees, just don't use the same words and don't say the same things, it's just a piece of marketing, right? Yeah. And I think a massive differentiator right now for a good employer is the investment you're doing in lifelong learning. And that's something that we are now working on making that more visible. Because once you are in Vodafone, you get it, that we are all about learning. We talk about this, we use technology about it, we have the world's best content, we dedicate time, we appreciate people, we give them badges and everything. But from an outside perspective, maybe we're not really the number one brand for learning. So that's something that, together with my colleagues in employer brand and HR, we're working on making them more visible for the external world. And to my before mentioned that, your brand is what they say about you. And right now with Glassdoor, with LinkedIn, with all the social media, there's nowhere to hide. People have conversations, share the experience they're having internally in the company or when they leave or when they join. You need to make sure that you have, strong consistency in what you are promising through your employer brand proposition, what you're actually delivering. So don't oversell because you'll get caught, right? Don't say, all the things, amazing things that you think people expect from you unless you can deliver them. And one differentiator besides lifelong learning opportunities and obviously career development and all that is the digital experience you give people, right? How seamless your processes are, how close you are to the Amazon or Netflix experience, let's say, when you come, when you join us and you do all sorts of nitty-gritty things every day, right? Are you able to deliver that digital experience to your employees, especially for us as a technology brand, the brand that prides itself giving customers a fantastic digital experience. You have to deliver that to your own people as well. So that's one of the reasons why a couple of years ago we started this almost movement to look at to redefine our employee experience at every touch point and really understand what our people expect to experience in every single touch point, be it important milestones in their career or important milestones in their life, right? Mm-hmm. What do we do when women return from maternity, how we reintegrate them in the workplace? All of these things are so important, and they're part of your brand, right? So you have to be very critical in delivering a good experience in these touch points and do it consistently and do it at scale, do it with 100,000 people in different cultures, in different countries. So have we cracked everything? No, I think we are on the journey, but we at least have a clear view what the magic moments are and how we can influence them. And that's all driven by the way we look at data that we capture in every single, let's say, touch point.
So you'll be presenting a session in the Employee Experience track this year at the HR Congress. What can our attendees expect from that presentation?
I hope that people who will join the session will get an honest view of how you design employee experience, with a blend from, human and technology. And then also lessons learned, I think, will be, again, as I said, an honest exercise of sharing from our experience and lessons learned where we failed and learned fast and hopefully, came back and truly transformed the employee experience across Vodafone. It will be, again, a very practical session with examples. Obviously, as I'm biased, right, I will spend more time talking about the learn journey, right, which is what my day job is. But I will make sure that I have a step back and I'll give kind of an end-to-end employee journey view and what we've done, what technology we used, what methodology we used, and how we engaged the hearts and minds of our HR communities and our employees with the program that we call EXX. So looking forward to that. It sounds like a great couple of days.
If there's any way that people can get in contact with you, how can they reach out?
I'm unfortunately a bit too active on social media. I wish I wasn't less so. I think, if people would like to have a conversation with me, you can find me on Twitter. My handle is C Schveninger. And I think you will have a bit of a hard time spelling my surname, but you will... I think thanks to your podcast.
We'll have it in the podcast. We'll have it in the podcast name so people can find it. No, I understand. I must admit, I almost spelt your name wrong a couple of times and putting you on the website. So I apologize for that if it's wrong anywhere.
No worries.
People spell my name wrong all the time, so it happens. I understand. Okay, but thank you, Catalina. It was a real pleasure talking to you, and I'll look forward to your presentation in Nice later in the year. So thank you for your time, and I'll let you get off.
Thank you, Ben. It's been a pleasure.